Okay, so this next step, I basically worked on getting the IK leg rig stuff set up. So this was pretty much a lot more involved than expected, but right now I'm doing a bunch of stuff. What I did is I started with the Manny rig for the put IK, and I just made a copy of that for this character. And whenever you're bringing in rigs that don't quite line up, yeah, there's a lot of like little fiddly stuff that you have to do. So for this one, I had to create some pre-forward solve offsets for the feet to make sure that they were part of my initial character's actual locations, and then a bunch of logic related to calculating the foot trace and getting the proper offsets for those. Also wanted to be able to toggle the IK on and off depending on if they were running and which foot was up, which foot was down. In order to do that, I had to, in the animation, which was like the power run, I basically needed to make a curve that would be toggled up or down depending on if the foot was on the ground or not. And in order to make those curves show up, you actually have to come into the skeleton itself and go to add curve, then it appears, and then from there I would need to come to this curve container within the actual IK foot retargeter, and then import the static mesh and then add the curves. That's the only way they'll show up in this get curve value. Yeah, so I did that for the left and the right foot, and basically just tune things with GPT to kind of work through what this rigging stuff was about, and the best values to put where. And I made sure to get the active curves in the blueprint itself, and then pass those in through modified curves. I don't think this one is hooked up. I think I was starting to play with that, but I didn't get around to it. I found that you can also pass in values into the control rig itself if you want to, if you expose them as variables here. So that should be useful for something in the future. Anyway, those were some of the steps. Oh, I also added some sockets to reference because it was pulling from an IK that was sort of like off kilter a bit. Yeah, so you'll see you have the character. He has some basic IK. It's not perfect, and I think I have like a lot of things to fix with it. So it works on some edges, and then other edges it just totally fails. So the other thing I have to fix is that when you get towards the edge, one of the legs is off and one is on. It has to know how to handle that, as well as you can be floating sometimes. But yeah, like I said, it's for a prototype. It's pretty good. You really couldn't tell unless you're like really looking at the feet quite a bit. But if you're playing from a distance, like I plan to make this prototype, it's pretty much fine. So yeah, I will just fix some egregious issues with it next, and then kind of move on to the next set of things.